Hello, my name is Laura Ryder. I am 45 years old. I am a tried and true Cincinnati native. However, I now live in Marion, Indiana. September 27th of 2018, I took my last drink and pain pills also were in the mix. I checked into a rehab facility in Indiana, and I consider my sobriety date to be September 28th of 2018. Um, my life was spiraling out of control. I had lived a life of trying to control everything while in the midst of that, I was literally living an insane life of lies and masks and what ifs and constantly feeling like I was chasing my tail and picking up the pieces. Um, my story begins with a lot of brokenness that I never even tried to address. I just numbed it with busyness and outward um, things, material things, events, being involved in things, being busy, things like that. And it wasn't until I decided to stop running around in circles and jumping on the merry-go-round and finally decided to get off of the train that I was getting on every day, that I was able to reconnect with my spirituality and my faith and my understanding of who I am. It is not an easy task, but it is necessary for me to be able to live one day at a time, um, surrendering my life and my will and my ways over to a higher power who I choose to call God, believing that now I am enough and that I am broken, beautifully broken, and that the brokenness is now being rebuilt with the proper um, tools and influences, um, through um, living in a home that was very broken. My mother left when I was two. It was fueled with a lot of anger and bitterness and resentment. My father was abusive, both verbally and mentally and emotionally. He was physically abusive to my brother, which I witnessed. Turns out that was traumatic for me. I experienced some trauma as a little girl through molestation of a babysitter, a male babysitter. And then when I was 15, I was raped at a party, a house party. And of course, I blamed myself for all of this. Could I have been a better daughter? Could I have been a better um, friend? Could I have been a better human being? I never really um, faced all of these things in the proper way because growing up, we didn't talk about our problems. We didn't have problems. And if we did, we certainly didn't let anybody know. And growing up in an environment in which, alcohol seemed to be an everyday experience, and something that was just like drinking water, it became, you know, something that I turned to socially. And then when huge problems arise in my life, um, such as divorce and um, just various events that didn't go my way, um, deaths, loss of job, people, um, trying to conform to the ways of the world and the expectations placed in it. I started to put on a lot of masks and just carry a lot of baggage. And so, being that alcohol seemed to allow me to fit into social circles and allowed me to numb feelings as well as feel um, different than how I was truly feeling, then, of course, when, you know, what I thought to be huge problems in my life arose, alcohol was the answer. Um, and it was my solution to all of the problems that I was facing, and now learned that it was those problems that a lot of which I created for myself, and I could have avoided them if I would have had the right tools and would have been surrounded by the right people and asked for help sooner. It was when I decided that I wasn't going to go to my 25th school reunion because I had been drinking daily, that I truly realized that I was isolating and not going to places that I normally would go. I was no longer coaching soccer. I was no longer being present outside of my home. I mean, I really wasn't even present here. I was just going through the motions of making everything look okay, even though I was a mess on the inside. I got into contact with a fellow classmate who is also now sober, and spoke with her honestly about what was going on in my life. She asked me why I wasn't attending our high school reunion, and I gave excuse after excuse. And after I sat with those excuses, um, I broke down and reached out to her and told her that I believed that I had a drinking problem and it was preventing me from living my life. And so I made a trip home to Cincinnati and lived back in that lifestyle for a weekend over Labor Day weekend of 2018, surrounded by the environment that I grew up in. And I took a deep, deep, hard look from the outside looking in, and realized that I didn't want to continue this lifestyle for not only me, but for my children. So I actually kind of put on a new pair of lenses that Labor Day weekend. And it was then that I decided to come home and to Indiana and reflect about life change and what that was going to look like. And it was scary. It was so scary. I mean, I was to the point in my life where I was not even looking forward to celebrating another birthday, let alone another Christmas, or even being alive to do any of those things, because I had gotten myself so deep into using alcohol and pain pills as a way to numb and to just get me through the day, to help me try to feel somewhat normal, that I knew this wasn't something that I could do on my own. It was either going to be I was going to have to take my own life, which I was doing, turns out slowly anyway, right in front of my kids, or I was going to have to ask for help. And this would be probably the first time ever in my life that I actually asked for help. And I reached out to somebody who I felt I could trust, and the wheels just started moving forward, where I was able to get um, into a treatment center in Indiana, where I spent 7 days just learning that I wasn't alone and that there is help and recovery is possible. So today I have, with the help of Alcoholics Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery, and being a part of Brianna's Hope here locally, I have been able to change my life around one day at a time. I'm an active member of my church. I'm involved in an organization called Time to Revive. We have a local group called Grant County Revive, Indiana. We go out and share the love of Jesus just by meeting people right where they are, and loving them and discerning and discipling. I chair meetings twice a week, and I have began a women's only meeting once a month in the clubhouse where we hold our regular AA meetings. We didn't have a women's only meeting, and I um, suggested, and then I brought it to the club, and we were able to get a women's only meeting. I felt this was important because I would see women come in and out of the rooms and they wouldn't come back. And I started really reflecting about why they wouldn't come back. And I realized that, there's a lot of shame and guilt in the things that we have done when we were out, using and abusing ourselves and, trying to live life by the bottle, or just trying to go through the motions, through all the hurts and hangups and then the habits that we developed. And coming into a room full of men and women, not knowing what recovery looks like and being scared to death to even leave your home, let alone talk about our problems, and even maybe even say, "Hi, my name is and I'm an alcoholic," is very overwhelming and can be very intimidating. And also surrounding yourself with people who are now laughing and able to discuss their problems when, when you first come into the rooms, you're not even sure, you know, what this looks like. You just know you want a different way of life. So by having a women's meeting, we're able to get together and just share our experience, strength, and hope of where we were, where we are now, and how we plan to get to where we want to be, just one day at a time, just lifting each other up through the promises, and definitely just sharing, our experiences in day to day sobriety. So, um, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. I am one of them. I am one of those. And I am very grateful to have found sobriety because I feel alive for the very first time in my life. I'm finding out that I am enough. I'm learning what love truly is. I know now that I don't have to be what other people expect me to be. I don't have to do anything that I think others would want me to do. I have realized that it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to be honest about your feelings, and it's okay to feel your feelings. I've also learned how to um, not regret my past, but use it as a tool to propel me forward, and help with other women through my experiences, because somewhere I know in my story someone is going to relate to bits and pieces, and that may help them find recovery as well. So today I just use my tools that I've gained in sobriety and recovery to reach out a hand to others. I am of service through Alcoholics Anonymous and Brianna's Hope. And I've also shared my story and testimony at Celebrate Recovery, as well as other avenues. I have no problem being vulnerable today, because with my vulnerability, I know that I'm able to empower other women and some men to come forward and maybe want to start seeking sobriety themselves by finding connections with my story and realizing that they're not alone. I'm so grateful for people's honesty with me and transparency, and learning to trust again, and developing people in my tribe, my sponsor, my therapist, and many other people who are seeking recovery too. Gratefully, in our community in Grant County, Indiana, we have a up and coming, very strong recovery community. We are building sober living homes for both men and women that are opening April 1st. We are also on the forefront of offering counseling for families of addicts through a program called Sender Wellness. We have lots of ways that people can seek answers to questions, and I like to be involved in trying to make those connections for people who are seeking recovery or answers about addiction. So I sit in on discussion groups and panels, and I just hope to continue to volunteer and be present at different events. I have a group called Recovery Rocks Women Warriors. It's a Facebook group for women only. Another woman and I started by simply painting rocks in an open public place where we invite women to come. Even if they have children, they can bring their children to paint inspiring messages, Bible verses, whatever, on rocks. We supply all of the necessary tools to paint the rocks, or they can bring their own rock that they found in nature. And they can either keep the rock themselves or give it away. They can put it in a place where people can find it, or give it to someone else, a person. We started not only doing this in a public place um, here locally, but we also have taken this to events. Recovery Rocks. It has been at a place called Voices of Recovery, which was a local event here, as well as some other open forum situations. And we have found that we are well received, and we started allowing people to share their other avenues of recovery by displaying their brochures and pamphlets and stuff. So our numbers are growing on Recovery Rocks Women Warriors. It's just an open discussion group that also posts, upcoming sober events that are taking place in and around our community. And we're just an organization that says we are here, and we can help, and we just want to be present for the women who are seeking recovery. So I'm so grateful for the life that I'm living, again, every day, one day at a time, just making sure I stay in an attitude of gratitude for the things that I have. I don't look at the things that I've lost, yet I am see all that I've gained with the freedom and deliverance from my addiction to alcohol and pain pills. So thank you so much for allowing me to share my story with you. It is filled with broken pieces to make me whole again. Those broken pieces are being gathered and filled with light and love. And I am stupid grateful for sobriety today. I am a little over 17 and a half months sober. I know that this is not where I'm supposed to be. I have yet to arrive. I am on a journey, and the destination is yet to be determined. And I know that if one door closes, others will open. And the one I tried to open probably wasn't intended for me anyway. Acceptance is a huge thing for me. I need to know that my higher power has his hand in all things. He has seen me to things, in things, and through things. I just continue to have faith in the people that God has brought into my life to help lift me up and encourage me. And because of sobriety, I feel like I have the ability to be a better mother. I have the ability to be able to trust my instincts. And I now know that I have a voice and it matters. And I'm able to feel my feelings and be okay with how I'm feeling, and do something with them, express them, and also just, be able to decipher better what my feelings are trying to tell me. So I've realized that through this journey, at some point, I became a codependent. I definitely had OCD. I was a people pleaser and a fixer. All of these things I just learned from a young child as defense mechanisms and just survival techniques. And so I've learned to carefully chisel those things away in sobriety through all of the things I mentioned before. So I also have started doing some YouTube, just real talk recovery videos to inspire other people who may be struggling with addiction or just struggling with being a single mom. I am a single mom with 4 children, 3 teenagers, and a 10-year-old daughter, doing sobriety. So, I know that I can't get too far ahead of myself and that I have to live in today, and yesterday is gone. So I really try to just be grateful when the sun is shining or when it's raining and realize that all things work out for the best and for the greater good. And I just know today that I have to trust in the things unseen and I have to continue to build the altar and they will come. I have to be true to myself and lower my expectations. So, again, thank you for the opportunity to share um, my story with you. Have a great day.